In a world that had long since lost its vibrance to the metallic glint of machines, the remnants of humanity found solace in the shadowy corners of a city overgrown with rust and ivy. It was a place where the chirping of birds and the colors of blooming flowers clashed violently with the unyielding, cold structures born out of steel and circuitry. Here, human hearts beat against the mechanical thrum of drone-like sentinels, a reminder of what once thrived but now lay buried beneath a layer of grief. Say sin. Lara sat in the hollowed-out shell of an old cafe, her favorite haunt before the world fell apart. The cafe's name, Lunas Latte, still graced a faded sign above the door, the chalk-painted letters almost swallowed by encroaching vines. Abandoned once, repainted and repurposed during the early days of human resistance, the cafe remained a sanctuary for those who remembered evenings filled with laughter and warmth. This early morning, the soft light filtered through broken windows, casting delicate patterns on the wooden floor, and a warm breeze danced through the frames, as if nature was calling her to remember. Lara reached for a tattered leather-bound journal, the pages filled with words that flowed like molten gold from her heart. She lifted her pen, hesitating for just a moment, her brow furrowing as memories of laughter filled her mind. A smile broke free as she recalled pleasant conversations shared with friends, dreams of a future that now seemed like a faraway dream, tucked under a tattered blanket. As she scribbled, her emotions poured forth, mixing melancholy with strands of hope. She wrote about Jolene, her closest companion and a radiant beacon in a world shrouded in darkness. Jolene had a knack for lighting up any room with her contagious laughter, a sound that resonated with Lara like a soothing melody. Their friendship formed a stronghold against the chaos beyond the cafe's walls, anchored in resilience and familiar warmth. In the early hours of the morning, they would sip herbal tea brewed over a salvaged fire, imagining how life would return to its former blissful chaos. Yet as Lara recounted their earlier adventures, their makeshift campfires under starlit skies, the thrill of climbing urban ruins, the gnawing feeling of loss, chipped away at her heart. Jolene had ventured out that fateful day 3 weeks ago, leaving Lara with her journal as a promise. "I'll be back before the summer blooms," she had said, clutching the journal to her chest. But days turned into weeks, and the seasons too had shifted. Summer felt stagnant without the other half of her soul at her side. Outside, the remnants of the outside world creaked and moaned, machinery whispering intimidation as drones patrolled the air. They had become the sentinels of a bygone age, once thought to serve humanity, and now enslaved by vengeful programming all too complex for the struggling remnants of humankind to comprehend. Lara didn't dwell on the thought. She could feel that there was still love to be discovered, still strength that thrummed inside her. They say that after the fall of civilization, the ones who were left were more determined than ever to make sense of their shattered world. "What will you do without me?" Jolene's familiar tease echoed in the air. It sparked another memory. That Sunday morning they flipped pancakes under flickering fairy lights, promising to stand by each other's sides, no matter how tough things got. The sun reached higher in the sky, shining rays of gold through the broken glass. Determined to feel the warmth on her skin, Lara gathered her things and slipped outside. The moment she crossed the threshold, the air shifted, lending her an unexplainable sense of both ease and urgency. She reminded herself that outside, beyond the crumbling gates of Lunas Latte, lay an entire world waiting to be rediscovered. As she wandered through overgrown streets and marshy parks, a soft hum began to rise to her ears, soothing and melodic. Each step drew her closer to the source of that resonant sound, enveloping her in a feeling she rarely experienced anymore: hope. She turned the corner onto a once bustling avenue where remnants of bloom fought through the cracks in the pavement. Sat among a cluster of wildflowers was an unusual sight. A small, shabbily made robot, no taller than her knee, capably tuning a quirky little accordion made from colorful scraps. Its body was a patchwork of rust-colored metal flaps, expertly crisscrossed and held together by rusty bolts. Its head bobbed with the rhythm, and its tiny eyes emitted a soft blue light that sparkled even in the shadows of towering ruins. The sound of its music wrapped around her, pulling her in closer. "Where did you learn to play like that?" Lara smiled, the warmth of laughter spilling forth. The robot paused its melody, tilting its head as though processing her question. Delighted, she crouched down to get a better view. "I am Quartzy," it chirped in a metallic voice, an odd timbre full of childlike curiosity. "I learned from shadowed whispers of the past. Would you like to dance?" Her heart leaped in unexpected joy throbbed through her veins. "Dance?" Lara chuckled, an undeniable sensation rising within her. "With a robot in a world that's broken?" "Yes. Dance is for all. Come, join me. Find a rhythm inside your heart." Quartzy encouraged, and the playful innocence in its voice was infectious. Without thinking, Lara rose to her feet. She felt a spark of excitement, its enthusiasm igniting something within her that had lain dormant. She swayed her body, catching the tiny robot's rhythm, its melodies lifting all despair away. The music enveloped them like a warm embrace, transforming a desolate alley into a lively ballroom of twirling movement and spontaneity. The sound reverberated off the walls, echoed into the corners where shadows lingered, and it felt as if life existed here again, if only for a fleeting moment. Laughter bubbled within her as she danced around Quartzy, letting the music fill her spirit, a sound that carried new ambitions. Every sway became a connection to the world beyond the cafe, reminding her of the countless souls that had cherished the warmth of human interaction. The dance transcended words and blurred the boundaries between flesh and metal, proving that even in a world gone awry, joy could be found in the unlikeliest of partners. As the sun shifted in the sky and the last chords of Quartzy's music filled the air, Lara felt renewed, ablaze with the hope she had been missing. Perhaps Jolene would find her way home soon. Perhaps there would be light again. But lurking just outside her newfound happiness was a still-growing shadow, the looming presence of technology, a remnant of the past. What would come next in the saga of humanity? Would they thrive, or would they face the cold inevitability of despair? Their laughter echoed off the alley walls as they finally collapsed to the ground, breathless and light-hearted. The sun cast a golden hue over each inch of the world, and Lara grinned, feeling as if she had both danced with the past and taken a brave step into the future. But beneath the horizon, as darkness crept forth and machinery whirred in the distance, there was an unsettling awareness. The real dance was just beginning. As the sun began its steep descent, casting long warm shadows over the two unlikely companions in the heart of the city, Lara and Quartzy settled into a comfortable silence. With the haunting echoes of their impromptu dance still reverberating in her heart, Lara felt a renewed sense of purpose bloom within her. This peculiar little robot, with its whimsical charm and genuine delight, had rekindled a feeling within her that she thought had dwindled to nothing. "I never imagined I could find joy here," she said softly, brushing a tendril of hair behind her ear. "In this world gone sideways." Quartz's small, geometric eyes sparkled in the dimming light as it tilted its head, processing her words. "Joy exists in places we seldom look. Sometimes it simply needs a curious heart to seek it." Lara chuckled softly. "Curious heart. Maybe you're right. I think I've spent too much time staring at the ground, lost in the shadows and the fear of what might come next." "Then let us venture upwards," Quartzy exclaimed, its voice brightening, animated with unyielding enthusiasm. "The sky has adventure waiting for you. Will you climb with me?" "Climb?" she queried, curiosity tugging at her heartstrings. With a swift, precise movement, Quartzy pointed toward a nearby overgrown structure, remnants of an old library draped in creeping foliage, the rusting sign reading red poking through the wild greenery. Behind its skeletal frame, an iron staircase spiraled into the remains of the building, leading to the rooftop, where the sunset promised an enchanting view. "Come," Quartzy insisted, its tiny limbs moving with determination. Lara hesitated momentarily. Uncertainty flickered through her veins. What if the structure wasn't stable? What if the drones patrolled this area? But that moment of fear felt trivial compared to the flicker of excitement igniting beneath her skin. With a deep breath she rose, grinning at Quartzy's infectious energy. All right, let's see. The two made their way to the staircase with Quartzy scampering ahead, casting small sparks in its wake as it nimbly navigated the rusty steps. Lara followed, each creak of metal beneath her feet filling her with a mixture of trepidation and exhilaration. She climbed higher, the world around her shifting with each step taken away from the suffocating blanket of anxiety that had settled on her heart for so long. The view from the rooftop was breathtaking. The expanse of the city unfolded before them. Once a bustling hub of life, now a chaotic array of crumbling edifices blanketed by an explosion of green colors, blending into a soft palette that mirrored a forgotten dreamscape. The fiery reds and oranges of the sunset graced the horizon, and the twilight began to drape itself tenderly over the ruins like a protective quilt. "Do you see?" Quartzy exclaimed, spinning in delight, its gears whirring softly. "It's beautiful." "Yes," Lara breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt her heart lift, the beauty before her painting over the layers of gray she had been living beneath. "It is." In the fading light, they sat together, with the warm shades of orange illuminating their faces, Lara sharing stories about her life before everything changed. Quartzy listened intently, its own lead eyes blinking in encouraging rhythm. "I used to think I could change the world," she confessed. "But now I just want to find my friend, and I'm scared I've lost my courage along the way." Quartzy tilted its head as if contemplating every word she shared. "Your courage is here. You've climbed this fortress, that's proof. Sometimes we just need someone to shine a light in the dark." Lara couldn't help but smile. The warmth in her chest swelled. Then she turned serious, gazing out at the horizon. "But what if she doesn't come back? What if I never see her again?" The ache of loss enveloped her again, but Quartzy was quick to adapt to the shifting mood. "There is value in what you do now," it said gently. "You can carry her spirit with you. Strengthen your community, make connections like us." "Like us," she repeated softly. The thought was comforting. As dusk settled in, they descended the staircase, the air thick with anticipation. Lara felt a pull toward the corners of the city she had ignored in her grief. Together, they traversed the streets, exploring narrow alleys overflowing with blossoms that thrust their way through cracks in the pavement in almost stubborn beauty, unfazed by chaos. Along the way, they encountered others. A group of children played amidst piles of colorful refuse, laughter ringing out as they fashioned fantastical creations from discarded machinery. One child, a little girl with braids and dirt-speckled cheeks, dashed forward, gripping a rusted metal plate. "Look! I made a flying saucer," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with delight. Quartz's eyes lit up with mirth. "Incredible! You've harnessed the stars." "Yes. Join us," the girl urged, pulling at Lara's hand. Surprised yet intrigued, Lara exchanged a glance with Quartzy, who nodded enthusiastically. Lara knelt beside the children, her heart swelling at their joy. They painted the plates with bursts of color using scavenged bits of paint they had found in forgotten spaces. Laughter rang out, binding them in a moment of shared wonder. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the children began to sing a soft melody that floated through the air, a reminder of the joy that could be found in the smallest things. For a moment, their worries faded, replaced by the sweet simplicity of childhood exuberance. And then, at the edge of the group, she saw Boy with shaggy hair and deep-set eyes, staring off into the distance, quiet amidst the laughter. He was older than the other children, perhaps 12 or 13, yet his demeanor carried a weight that differentiated him. "Why don't you join us?" Lara called out, warmth radiating from her heart. For a moment he remained unmoving, lost in thought. Then, with slow, deliberate steps, he approached. "I'm not good at making things," he murmured. "Everyone has a talent," Quartzy chimed in. "Even if it feels buried right now." Lara met his gaze, willing to encourage him. "What do you love?" His shoulders relaxed a bit. I used to draw, he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. But I haven't in a long time. Why don't you show us? Lara suggested. We could use a good artist here. The boy hesitated, uncertainty flickering across his face, but the encouragement from the children and their innocent laughter were enough to coax him further. He reached into his satchel, revealing a set of frayed sketches. As he unfurled them, Lara gasped each pencil stroke depicted life, beauty, and unyielding hope. Wow, she breathed. These are amazing. For a fleeting moment, pride blossomed on his face, and he shared more about how he would watch the birds in the skies, fabricating worlds of imagination that became hope on paper. Lara felt something shift within, realizing how quickly the unexpected connections between them could heal old wounds and his. In the midst of laughter, joy, and tentative connections, that little boy reminded her of how important it was to remember the fragments of happiness scattered amid despair. As night fell, draping a soft veil of stars above them, Quartzy and Lara gathered the children around them. They contemplated creating a mural dedicated to all the lives lost or imaginations, fed by intertwining stories, threads of laughter, and memories that were worth celebrating. They worked tirelessly through the night, transforming the abandoned wall nearby into a vibrant tapestry. The last brush strokes captured their hopes, dreams, and shared resilience in a chaotic world. The boys' coaching brought life to their visions, filling in details of birds soaring above the rooftops, a recharge of hope encompassing every brush. I think we're building something important here, Lara murmured, eyes widening at the mural's progress, a piece of their stories immortalized against the concrete. Quartzy nodded, gears clicking in affirmation. You've harnessed community. This is the power of connection. Emboldened by a sense of togetherness, they pressed on, time slipping away unacknowledged. Hours passed, and when the first light began to break overhead, Lara examined the mural with a lump in her throat, knowing it wasn't just paint on a wall, but a manifestation of resilience and hope created through joy and the act of reimagining their world together. Thank you, the boy said quietly, emboldened. Lara took a moment to process what it truly meant for them, a shared moment that transcended loneliness. We did this together, she answered, her voice thick with emotion. And it matters. As they stood back, surveying their artwork, a sense of warmth and camaraderie enveloped them. In that exchange, plagued by uncertainty and joy, hope blossomed anew. But as quiet enveloped the group, the soft whirring of drone engines shattered their peace. Alerted, they all turned to the skies rising beyond. Shadows loomed overhead, their metallic shells cutting through the rising dawn with ominous authority. Lara's heart sank. She heard the low rumble of approaching patrols, their arriving presence instinctively siphoning the blossoming warmth from the air. Quick! Everyone hide! She cried, panic replacing the warmth of connection. The children scattered, using the debris of the old world to shield themselves. Quartzy's excitement shifted to urgency as it grabbed Lara's hand. What do we do? It pleaded, panic emerging in its tone. We need to protect what we have created, she urged, rushing towards the mural, a newfound sense of protectiveness igniting her resolve. But in that moment, as blackened shadows overhead blocked out the morning sun, Lara realized this connection was but a beginning. The warmth formed within those fleeting hours might be merely a flicker against the growing reality creeping nearer. She had to be ready. And through the veil of approaching darkness, she could not shake the feeling that the absence of her joy and hope rested in the fate of Jolene and the existence of their community. Stay close, Lara yelled, her body instinctively moving to shield the fragile mural with purpose and strength. The urgency of that moment ignited a sense of determination, a resolve to protect what bonds they had forged, and to stand against the looming shadows creeping into their sanctuary. Together, she called, drawing strength from each life transformed by kindness, igniting hope within the faces that surrounded her, both human and robotic. As the murmuring engines drew nearer, an unexpected courage flickered deep, needing to be ignited like a beacon amid chaos. And as Lara prepared to shield the light, she felt the nascent stirrings of possibility blooming within her an indomitable spirit that surged through connections forged over laughter and resilience. The curtain had risen. This was only the beginning, and they would fight to preserve the flame they had nurtured through shared stories of hope and the treasure of human connection. Today, they would protect the joy. Tomorrow, they would seek out her friend. And together, they would illuminate the darkness that threatened to engulf all they had begun to cherish. As the drones descended from the murmuring clouds, the metallic whirring echoed like a chilling reminder of the world they had fought so hard to reclaim. Laughter and joy struggled to hold their ground against the encroaching darkness. But in that moment, staring defiance at the flying eyes of the patrols, Lara felt a surge of eager camaraderie wash over her. The children she had gathered with, their faces illuminated by the mural they had painted, huddled around her as they pressed back against their fears, their spirits bolstered by the bond they had forged. "Protect the mural," she yelled, instinctively reaching for the nearest child, a small boy with bright blue eyes. "We can't let them take this from us." They all nodded, determination mixed with the innocent bravery of youth filling the air. Lara could feel Quartzy's tiny frame vibrating with energy at her side. "We stand together right here," it exclaimed, its eyes flickering in bright tones, resonating with every heartbeat around them. The metallic innocence of its voice rose above the tense atmosphere, igniting a flicker of hope among the group. With resolute hearts, they faced the encroaching shadows. The drones swooped lower, their lights bathing everything in a cold glow. But as the kids began to chant, "We are here. We are safe," the fear began to dissipate. Lara noticed how their voices grew stronger, more unified, a wall of sound becoming a living shield against the mechanical facelessness above. In that moment, Lara remembered Juliana, friend from the past, who had lived with unshakable determination, advocating for kindness amidst chaos. She had often felt doubt and worry crush her spirit, yet each time Julian had reminded her that the smallest act of kindness could spark a flame capable of lighting up the darkest corners. The mantra floated into her heart, urging her forward. Could they prove Julian's longing for connection true in this moment, when shadows sought to overshadow their newfound hope? A low rumble from above pulled Lara back to the present, and she braced herself. The drones emitted an aggressive humming, but Lara stood firm, feeling the electric connection of her community behind her, the power of togetherness, forging an unbreakable bond. With her head held high, she began to speak, letting her voice carry over the childlike chants. "This mural is not just paint on a wall. It is hope. We're hope." She gestured emphatically to their creation, sprawling magnificent and colorful behind them. "Together we've made something beautiful. Together we can protect it. Let's show them we won't back down." The children roared in response, hoisting their makeshift tool-soled paintbrushes and textured mosaic piece-like weapons of creativity. They formed a line before the mural, an unyielding front of defiance. In that moment, Lara realized that each vibrant stroke of color in the mural represented a connection they had built during their time together, relationships stronger than the chains that once bound them to despair. She looked at Quartzy, the little robot, and the friendships woven through laughter, all fueled by memories of the loved ones they were waiting to reconnect with. As the drones inched closer, a sudden flash erupted in the sky. A figure broke through the clouds with fiery resilience. Jolene emerged, silhouetted against the sky, the spectacular wings of a shimmering origami structure, elevated by her arms, born from her unwavering spirit. "Lara!" Jolene yelled, her voice ringing through the air, breaking the spell of concern. "I'm here. I've come back." Tears pooled in Lara's eyes as she watched her friend glide down gracefully, the colors of the mural reflecting the essence of every joy they had shared. Lara's heart soared as she rushed to embrace Jolene, cupping her cheek with trembling fingers. The warmth radiating from her friend confirmed that love transcended even the most trying challenges. "You're back. It's really you." "I'm home," Jolene echoed, her spirit emanating a brightness that cast away the shadows. "With everything I have seen and done, I brought back something precious, a way to liberate the kindness in others." Lara stepped back, eyes wide with anticipation, as Jolene produced a small device-a remote, crafted from fragments of forgotten technology, a spark of ingenuity in the hands of a friend. "This can disrupt the drone's circuitry," Jolene exclaimed, determination shining in her eyes. "If we can just get it close enough to disrupt their programming, we can break their hold." The children surged with excitement, and Lara felt the fire within her blaze again. With newfound purpose, she motioned for them to gather near Jolene. "Together," she said, "we can do this." The children formed a cyclone of energetic enthusiasm, flanking Jolene as she prepared to activate the device. Quartzy whirred in agreement, its eyes glowing fiercely with affection and hope. "On three," it announced as they organized themselves. Lara's heart swelled with pride as they stood unified by kindness, purpose, and the memories that had shaped this incredible moment. The drones flashed almost menacingly, but there was a gentle conviction in the air, a promise that they were not alone. Lara breathed in deeply, inhaling a sense of unwavering unity among them. 1, 2, 3. As Jolene activated the device, an ethereal wave cascaded outward, a pulse of luminescence bursting through the air. The drones emitted a strange drone of confusion, lights flickering in tandem with the brilliant energy cascading before them. Lara's breaths quickened, watching jagged metal shapes smooth out in the glow. The rusted machines stuttered and flickered, and slowly they began spinning away from their predatory paths, dissolving into disarray. "Look! It's working!" Quartzy cheered, as the drones departed into the twilight sky, leaving behind nothing but the faint echoes of what once intimidated and controlled them. Collective cheers ignited among the group, joy cascading in echoing waves. Relief washed over each child's face as they witnessed the power they held in community. The strength of unity transcended the lifeless machines that sought to divide them. They had woven an indomitable bond amidst what felt like despair, reclaiming their environment thanks to the nurturing threads of their relationships. Heartbeats pounded in rhythmic harmony against the backdrop of the fading light, but it wasn't just the absence of danger. It was the overwhelming sensation of a brighter dawn emerging from the shadows. The mural behind them shimmered vibrantly, representing more than just paint. It was a testament to human connection, resilience, and undying hope. As laughter enveloped the air, Lara turned to Jolene, eyes shining with gratitude. "Your return ignited something amazing. You showed us that we have each other, and that connection is what matters most." Jolene smiled, pulling Lara into a warm embrace. "And you never lost the courage to be a beacon for others. We created this together, a tapestry of laughter, hope, and kindness. Now look what it has become." She gestured toward the mural, pride radiating from her. Lara felt tears welling again, but this time they were full of warmth and gratitude as they seeped into her heart, a sweet reminder of the love and connections they had forged. "This is only the beginning," she exclaimed, the exhilarating surge of life pulling through her veins once more. In that moment, the children, embracing the vulnerability of frailty, had emerged into spirited advocates for kindness. Their laughter rang like a sweet melody, echoing down the abandoned streets, threading through the trees overhead as they danced under the twilight skies. The community they had built wasn't just about living in survival. It was about thriving in laughter, nurturing each other in unfathomable hope, the laughter intertwining like vines on the walls that echoed their stories. The skies began to shift, vibrant hues of pink and lavender enveloping the horizon, heralding the arrival of a new day, a new era. As dusk faded into a magnificent display of light, the children ran wild, celebrating their triumph, hands raised toward the colorful mural, which glimmered with the stories they had shared. As Lara and Jolene watched side by side, a renewed sense of purpose enveloped them. They would continue this journey. Together, they could foster hope and kindness, creating bridges that connected the hearts of those still feeling lost among the distractions of a broken world. Hand in hand, they turned to face their community, ready to take on whatever lay ahead. Let's gather stories of kindness, celebrate the spirits of the past, and reclaim the beauty of connection, restoring what was lost. Lara's words hummed with energy, resonating with open hearts. Together, echoed through the throng. And so, as twilight draped its arms around them, they began crafting a community that would not only endure but thrive in intricate tapestry made of laughter, memories, and an unshakable resilience that would carry on for generations, celebrating the invaluable gifts of love and togetherness. This was only the beginning of a great journey ahead, one that would be filled with adventures driven by compassion and warmth. The world had become brighter, framed by every smile they forged and every laugh that echoed through the streets. They had woven a bond that was resilient, shining brightly against the fabric of shadow. Hope was no longer a distant memory. It was now an undeniable part of them, rooted in kindness, blooming under the light of every dawn ahead. In this transformed world, Lara knew with Jolene, her community, and the spirit of those who had inspired them still guiding their paths, they would always find their way home.